continues here on SRL TV. Here at ANZ Stadium, here in Sydney. Second game of the evening, and we're still trying to get our breaths back after such a comeback from the Broncos, who have made their way into the top four. It's the Rabbitohs at home taking on Penrith. Back in the commentary box with me once again, it's Jack O'Neill. Jack, the Panthers, their season is most definitely on the line here tonight. We said it last week, but this is their last hurrah. Meanwhile, for the Rabbitohs, they fall outside the top four. The Broncos beat the Eels earlier on. We'll just let Mark Lee get the game underway here at ANZ Stadium on Tuesday night. As the Rabbitohs going right to left with their hands on the ball first of all.
Release! He's held there.
Jack, two sides who are at different ends of the spectrum halfway through the season. What do the Panthers need to do to get the 2 points here tonight?
He's held three.
Honestly, if I'm Lockie Martin right now, I'm telling these boys, all the pressure is on them. Everything is on them to perform, is on Sydney. They've just dropped out of the top four with Brisbane winning. They are under a lot of pressure to stay in that top four, obviously, and go to that next level. They've lost They've lost by a pretty considerable margin to the Cowboys, and they lost to Manly by a considerable margin the week before. Whereas Penrith, yes, they haven't won a game all season, and yes, mathematically they can still make finals, but they have nothing to really lose from this game, in my opinion. I think they can use the ball and play up-tempo footy like they are now with Sinclair making a break, and, you know, put the pressure on the Bunnies, stick the game to them and see if they crack. I think that'll be his message for sure. I tipped this game to be 1-12 on the pod. You went 13+. It's going to be interesting to see how this game goes. I think Penrith have found their spine with Mark Lee and James Thorne in the halves, Declan Murphy at hooker. They've made one change. Nathan Fisher moves to fullback. They move Brodie Kennedy over to the left. I think it is the left centre position. So it'll be interesting to see how that move goes for them. But yeah, like I said, I don't think there's much pressure on Penrith at all. Whereas as Thorne breaks straight through on the last, almost gets away from the fullback. No, and I think that's what Mark Lee is going to do for him. It's going to free him up to just play his natural game. As I think they're about to put Collins over the sideline. Yes, he's put a foot out. That's a huge result for Penrith. Probably not the play from Souths, but now Penrith can post early points. So they were admirable against Brisbane last week too, Penrith. They definitely aren't playing as bad as you'd expect a wooden spooner team to play at the moment. So let's see what happens in this set as Kennedy breaks through.
Next chance to see Nathan Fisher in the #1 jumper.
Right, here's tackle one.
The originals from season 1, former captain.
He's held there. Two on the keep going.
#1 tonight. Off to Kennedy for that first touch.
Held. Three. Back with
Panthers
me.
on attack at the moment. Murphy goes to Martin, the captain running forward. With the heavy contact at the Rabbitohs line, but they're going to quick play the ball. It's Mark Lee forcing himself towards the line. And Mark Lee...
Did he get it out?
He looks confident to me. We're going to go upstairs. There's Aaron O'Hare and Mason Remy trying to hold him up, but the little number 9, or he's playing the number 6 tonight, too strong and his centre of gravity, and the Panthers open the scoring at ANZ Stadium away from home.
Yeah, one thing Penrith have made a habit of, they are fast starters. They scored the first try against Brisbane last week at similar times in the match as well. They've got to sustain this for 80 minutes. But they're sticking it to the Rabbitohs so far because they threw their captain, Jai Collins, over the sideline in the previous play. Mark Lee, he's playing great footy in the halves. He told me on the Be The Player podcast a couple of weeks ago that he wants to stay in the halves for the rest of his career. He's played there in the juniors. He said he likes it in that jersey, and he's showing why at the moment.
These sides have met each other twice in the past. Panthers yet to make finals footy in the SRL, so both of those occasions were in regular season round robin action. Season 1.
That's your second. Hill. Get up.
Down to the Rabbitohs away from home. Rabbitohs. 40 points to 12.
3. Hands off.
Tackle.
He's held there.
And then last season, the Panthers are home once again. This time beating the Rabbitohs by 1 point. 7 points to 6.
Get back.
Low
Look
scoring
at
game,
me.
Stat Lachlan
Fifth
Martin,
and
the
last.
Panthers skipper.
He's held there.
He scored 2 tries in his SRL career. Both of those tries taking place in round 5 of each of season 1 and season 2.
That's one. Move.
Yeah, he's in my multi.
That's for sure. Skies charges onto that one.
Held 2.
With a head of steam outside the Rabbitohs 20 they go. They're just on the near side.
He's held there.
Slattery.
3. Back with me.
Rivers Rick Slattery was looking at options for season 4.
On the 10.
No word yet as to where he may be going.
Held 5. He's held there.
Secondary roles from the likes of Jake Tuss and Mason Rennie at the Rabbitohs. Large lineup they have as Elms cuts through the middle, back on the inside. He'll be too fast. The Panthers are going to go 2 up here away from home. The Rabbitohs just defence just opening up. Now Robbie and the Panthers out to an early 10 points to lead. 10 points to 0 lead. Kick to come.
Crazy start. Let's not forget they are the underdogs. Parramatta were the underdogs. They raced out to a 24-0 lead. Brisbane ran them down. So, you know, we might be seeing a similar thing happen. Souths haven't had much ball, but it's been off the back of Penrith's great work. Their forwards are going forward, and the kicking game from Penrith, especially Mark Lee, he's had some good kicks, has been really strong to begin this game. So they're the ones that are keeping South Sydney out of this game at the moment.
Line-up after that try to Robbie Elms. Fullback Nathan Fisher on the wings, Josh Saddle-Cart and Robbie Elms. Brody Kennedy finds himself in the number 3 jumper, partnering up with Hayden Mallard. It's a familiar combination, or a combination that's starting to become a lot more familiar. James Thorne and Mark Lee, captain Lachlan Martin.
He's held there.
Some big changes for those halves. Lachlan Sinclair, Declan Murphy and Jordan Williams.
Held. 3 hands away.
For Penrith, it's their captain, Lachlan Martin, partnering up with Sean Bradford and Simon Hunt.
That's tackle 4, hands off.
On the bench, Ollie Pace and Davis, Anthony Delaney and Tim Ball.
5, hold on the 10. He's held there. Get off him.
For the Rabbitohs, a largely unchanged lineup from Jai Collins. And Ryan again, the 1 jumper.
1, release.
Collins,
held.
Thomas Mendonca on the wings. Jackson Cutler and Jason Launu in the second. A good start to
He's held there.
his second
That's your
stint
second.
in the SRL. Cowboys in season 1 coming back. Start of season 2.
3, held. Move it.
The half, Mason Reddy, Aaron O'Hare, Rick Slattery up the front.
He's held there.
Guys,
4.
Drake Dranigan,
Move.
Tuffs. Cameron Relentless, Terrace Rife,
Get the
Justice
mark.
O'Shea
Held.
Lay.
Let him go. Let him go.
Terrace Rife is warming up as we speak. Cameron Relentless as well, up off the bench, just
He's
jogging up and down the sidelines. What's it like down there, Jack?
Yeah, mate, I went for a walk down there. really good conditions, much better conditions than over at the Gold Coast, that's for sure. I think we're going to see a lot of points in this game. I think Penrith have really shown that so far. Souths are starting to respond. I think the kicking game has got a lot better. There's a little bit of wind, I think, but we're seeing it favour both sides a little bit in this first half. We saw a really good kick that ended up going into the in-goals for Penrith and putting Liam Ryan under a lot of pressure, but that kick at the end of that last set for South Sydney was also really strong and has really restricted Penrith in this set. So really good conditions as Mark Lee puts in a not his greatest kick of the night. One thing he has done has been a really good controlling factor for Penrith, but that was not a good controlling kick. You mentioned Jason Laumu in that during the lineups commish. He's garnered a lot of interest from a lot of different clubs, I can confirm. He's been really solid for South Sydney. I think he's sort of been their forgotten man to some extent. There's some really good performance in that South Sydney lineup, so I think he'll want some ball in this set. Ooh,
Inside, it's Rennie who takes it forward. He's thrown it away. Panthers coming up with it inside their own 30. So an unforced error really there from Mason Rennie, trying to find a support player on the inside. I think it was
Three back with
Ryan
me.
who was sort of just hovering on the inside, and Ash Crutcher as well. As the Panthers into the Rabbitohs half.
Four. Get back. Look
Fourth
at me.
tackle, centre field. It's Declan Murphy. He's had a good start to the game, and he puts Hunt through the middle into the backfield, met by Liam Ryan. Panthers will be looking to get this kick away rather sharply. As Ryan is not back there, and Lee puts it up. Another great kick. Panthers players coming through, but nothing to kick really for Mark Lee. Will be disappointed with that one.
yeah, for sure. His last two kicks have been pretty disappointing, Mark, as that's a risky pass there. You know, one thing you've got to do, especially against a good side like Souths, with really good outside backs in Collins and also Liam Ryan, is that that's a really nice pass. But when you get out to this type of lead, obviously you still have to play footy, but you've also got to kick really well and keep them out of this game, because if Souths get a sniff, all of a sudden they could be, you know, they could take a lead, because they play really fast footy, especially when they have momentum behind them.
He's held there. Three markers lock in.
James Thorne averaging 116 metres.
Held. That's tackle four. Hands off.
Compare that to Rabbitohs leading. It's Ash Crutcher averaging
Held.
150
Five.
metres. So
He's held there.
a significant difference between.
That's a nice kick there, Crutcher.
Well, well by Fisher, charging through at
One.
speed.
Release. Held.
Does well to get out to the Panthers 10 as Thorne decides to take the line on. He's been hit
Ooh.
by tackle.
That was an ugly one. You know, Thorne,
I don't think it was deliberate.
no, I don't think it was either, but his running game, James Thorne, has been really strong so far. And again, we spoke about the effect of Mark Lee being in the halves with him. It's freeing him up. It's really good to see James just playing his natural game a little bit and not having to worry so much about steering the team around. But Mark Lee's last few kicks haven't been great, as that's another penalty given away from South's. Terrible discipline at the moment from them. But this is good stuff from Penrith. They're in good field position now, but maybe Thorne needs to take a few more kicks just to take a bit of pressure off Mark Lee now.
Pressure off Mark Lee. I mean, the Panthers are going to be setting up quite nicely here. And just as I say that, a forward pass from the restart. How frustrating as a Panther supporter. I'm just going to say Mark Lee is going to be a perfect opportunity to
That's one. Move.
another assist. Leading the competition at the moment, 6th for the season. In front of Levi Raymond from the Broncos.
Held. Two.
Isaac Edwards from the Rabbitohs. Ryan
Right, that's
darts
the
up that
ball.
right hand
He's held
edge.
there. Up
Taken
now.
down well. Ryan's opposite will go flat to Dranigan this time. He just
Held.
goes one way only, straight forward.
Move.
Exactly.
Five, hold on the
Inside the
10.
Panthers'
He's
red
held
zone.
there. Get
The
up
Rabbitohs
in.
go, but they're on their final tackle. It's a slow play the ball from Logan Guys. So here goes flat to Crutcher, tries to get it away. It's another error. So both sides a little bit sloppy at the moment.
Right, here's tackle 1. Hill.
It was probably a little bit overwhelmed the fact they're 12 points up.
2, hands away. He's held
Over
there.
last season's beaten finalists, while the Rabbitohs are finding themselves under a little bit of pressure which they may not have felt so far
3,
this season.
hands away.
No, one thing they've been able to do, South, is fly under the radar a little bit. Just stick around that third position. Their only 2 losses have been to the top 2 contenders, arguably for me, in the league. But, you know, I think Penrith are probably a bit surprised by how, I want to say easy, but how quickly they were able to, you know, take that lead and take a 12-point lead even. But now all of a sudden it's gotten a bit harder, and I think that surprised them because they haven't done themselves any favours with some pretty average kicking at times, Penrith. But Souths are keeping you in this game with silly errors as well, so whichever team can start cutting these errors out will go a long way in winning this game.
That's your second. Hill.
The Panthers have put a big hit on.
That's 1. Move.
Looks like it was a
He's
big
held
hit on
there.
Liam Ryan.
Let him
The
out.
Rabbitohs have given it away inside their own 30. So the Panthers 25 and a half,
Two, on the kick
26 minutes
going.
gone, leading 12 points to at the moment as Thorne decides to take the line
held
on
there.
once again. It's
Right,
the third or
that's the
fourth
third.
time we've seen him do that. Murphy short side to Bradford, the big second rower.
That's
Hard to
double ball,
stop,
hands
but he
off.
is.
Hill.
It's Crutcher and O'Hare by the looks of it as Murphy darts
Tackle
from
5.
dummy half, no
Oh.
way through
He's held
there
there.
for the Little Panthers hooker. Final tackle, they'll go back to Lee, puts it on the ground for himself. Mark Lee towards the line, looking for number 2, but rolled onto his back. And the Rabbitohs will get the ball out at their own 10.
Yeah, it's an interesting set from Penrith. They look dangerous at times. Declan Murphy tried to crash over at one stage in that set, probably not the play. And then Mark Lee puts a little kick in for himself, but it was a very, very shallow kick, and I think that's been his issue. He almost drove over in the end anyway, but you know, if that ball finds the in goal, then they may be looking at a repeat set or even a try. So, you know, I think Mark just needs to take some time to readjust and reassess. I think half-time would be a really good thing for Mark Lee at the moment.
A good run from Liam Ryan, who palmed off the first tackle. Managed to pinch an extra 20-odd metres. They come short side. Crutcher short to Guys, who spilled it forward. So another mistake for the Rabbitohs, only 15 metres out from the Panthers line on this near side. And the Panthers let off the hook once again. It's Kennedy, straight through the middle. He will not be stopped. Brody Kennedy from the restart. The Panthers under the posts will go 16-0 up, kick to come.
Where are the Rabbitohs heads at? Liam Ryan just made a scintillating run. Then Logan Guys, it's simple as not looking at the ball, like just not being ready for the ball at all, makes a simple error, and then poor defense on Kennedy. We know how dangerous he is, but regardless, it was a poor one-on-one missed tackle. He puts on some beautiful footwork, and we know how fast he is. He's one of the fastest in the SRL. He creases through for his first try of the match. And Penrith, 18-0 up now. A lot of pressure on South Sydney at the moment. They could drop out of the top 4.
They already have dropped out of the top 4
Good
based
point.
on that Brisbane win earlier on this evening. We'll have a quick look at the permutations of the ladder. A loss here for the Rabbitohs. Possibly put them down as low as 6th at the end of this round.
Well, they're 4 and against at the moment. They're on 4. Canberra on -6, right? So Souths have moved down to 5th already. Canberra went to 6th. But if Canberra win or lose by a small margin tomorrow and Souths go on to lose by a margin this big, they will drop as low as 7th. Which is crazy to think about, given how, you know, they're grand finalists and their defence tonight so far has been abysmal, and they've had some really poor lapses of concentration. But, you know, we saw Brisbane come back from a similar deficit in the last game, so it's not over, but they need to find something soon.
shallow kick. Johnny sort of
One, release. He's held there.
Position as Thomas Mendonca, who I feel like we haven't touched on him much at all so far tonight.
2 hands away.
An article came out about Mendonca during the week.
3 hands away.
He's
held
a try
there.
since season 1. He was always considered as one of those
Held. 4.
scintillating.
10.
Yeah, for sure.
Rabbitohs his whole career, but
5th and last.
it's gone under the radar. And all of a sudden, season 3, he's still sitting on 1 try.
It's one of those things where maybe a change of scenery might be the best thing for Thomas, you know. We've seen a couple of players move clubs. Some of it has worked out really well for them. Some of it not so much. But, you know, I think maybe it's time for him to run the gauntlet and get out of his comfort zone a little bit.
Held. 2. Held. Let him up.
Relentless on the path for the Rabbitohs making that tackle. They're just doing what they've done in
He's
this
held there.
33 minutes.
3. Hands off.
Working their way down the centre of the park.
Held. 4. Get
Finding
back.
their
Look
way
at
to their
me.
kick at the end of the set.
Also-
Just again, as Martin almost got his hands free as
He's
he
held
sit
there.
there. Just on the outside of him, it's Lee will kick. A deep kick. Forcing Collins backwards. And that
Oh, look
could
out.
be a mistake. Almost Collins
That's
getting
one.
away.
Move.
Good one-on-one tackle from Fisher. And he's played a pretty good first, hopefully 35 minutes, Nathan Fisher.
He's held there.
Yeah, for sure.
2.
He's looked solid. You know, he hasn't done anything too outrageous. He's just done his job, and he's doing a really good job of it so far. This is how, South Sydney, sorry, they're in really good field position now, so they need to, you know, find something in this set, or at least manage their way to half-time with some good kicking, and don't let try and grind Penrith out of this game a little bit. Just a quick apology. They can only finish as low as 6th by the end of this round. I did make an error there. Parramatta did lose that game. I didn't realise they were only on 2 competition points, but still 6th. That's a really bad result for South. We know how tight it is. And Brisbane not too long ago were down about 6 too, but for a club like South Sydney, with everything they've achieved in the SRL, finalists in season 1, grand finalists in season 2, you know, they should still be in that top 4. Jai Collins will not be happy.
Held. 3.
Quite contrary, the opposite for the Panthers. Starting the season with 4 losses.
4. Move.
Fisher handing over the captaincy to Lachlan Martin after the second week of competition.
5. Holding a 10.
We won't say anything further, we'll just let the players work their way through the game plan. It's another poor kick from Mark Lee. Liam Ryan's come away with it. I think he's going to have too much speed
He will.
for the chasing Brodie Kennedy. And I tried not to say too much, Jack. I didn't want to say anything further about the Panthers start, just as I did. The Rabbitohs run 60 metres and score.
Yeah, well, at the start of this game, their start came off the back of their spine players doing really well. Declan Murphy controlling in and around the ruck, getting out of acting half. James Thorne and Mark Lee working well together. But Mark Lee's last, I'd say, even 30 minutes, his kicking game has not been good at all. His short kicking, he saw a really poor short kick there. And Liam Ryan scoops it up. So this might be what South needed. But like I said, I think halftime's the perfect thing for Marks to get back, get around the coaching staff over at Penrith, and just readjust and come back out again. But they can't afford to concede any more tries before halftime, the Panthers.
Just over a minute until half-time here at ANZ Stadium. Panthers still holding an 18 points to 6 lead. 3 tries to 1. Liam Ryan strikes back for South Sydney. Mark Lee definitely is the one player who's going to have to, I guess, reassess his game plan at half-time as the players will head into the shed soon.
That's your second.
As you say, Jack, it's his kicking that seems to be letting the Panthers down, even though they are on top on the scoreboard.
3. Back to 10.
His short kicking game doesn't seem to be on point at the moment. As we approach half-time,
Held.
Possibly one tackle remaining as Collins at dummy half. The Rabbitohs decide to kick from inside their 40. Bradford's come away with it. I'm not sure if he'll get to play the ball. No, he won't. Half time here at Accor Stadium, 18 points to 6. Second half action set to get underway here at Accor Stadium in Sydney. Rabbitohs home game for Tuesday night action here in the Simulation Rugby League Premiership. But it's the Panthers in front at the moment as Liam Ryan gets the second half underway, finding his side trailing by 18 points to 6 at the half-time break. The Panthers got out to an 18 points lead in the opening 30 minutes. It was Liam Ryan who capitalised on Panthers' mistake.
Let him go.
And ran 50 metres to get the Rabbitohs' first points of the game. But a first half that I guess a little bit error-riddled within both sides. We've talked about Mark Lee and his kicking. As we see the Panthers get through their first set. No problem. What did the coaches have to say at half-time, Jack?
Yeah, well, you know, I was curious on how Lachlan Martin was going to respond to his halves kicking. We saw a good kick there from James Thorne, but he went straight to Mark Lee and he just told him to relax, get back into his natural game. He obviously isn't too used to playing halfback at this level, but, you know, he just backed him, just told him to back himself and to, you know, just get those kicks a bit deeper and he'll be right. As for the Rabbitohs, Jai Collins was not happy. He said he can take a lot of positives out of that last 10 minutes, but he said his first 30 minutes was not good enough as they've kicked a 40-20 here. I think it was Lowman. And all of a sudden, they're on the attack.
For the Rabbitohs, and they'll go straight through the middle through Olay.
That's one. Move.
Fresh on.
Fresh on the park, a metre out to Edwards. Too small to force his way through a pack of full forwards, and they go out wide to Dawson Swarm. What a tackle made on him by Brodie Kennedy. One-on-one tackle, still not over yet as the Rabbitohs continue to pressure this Panthers line. Tackle 4, quick ball to Slattery. Finds him just about half a metre short of the line, so final tackle now. They stay left, no, instead O'Hare decides to run it. And that's a poor decision by the Rabbitohs senior hooker. The Panthers let off the hook there early in the second half.
Yeah, Penrith, they defended that set well, you know, obviously conceded that 40-20. Brody Kennedy came up with a massive tackle in that set. And then O'Hare, that was not the right option. He should have got that ball straight to Isaac Edwards or Ash Crutcher. I know they're both really reliable halves, so I'm not sure his thinking there is that's a nice inside ball. Away goes Nathan Fisher.
Fisher giving it a one-on-one with Liam Ryan. Testing out that right shoulder of Liam Ryan, who's given him a little bit of cause for concern in the first few weeks of competition. Looks to be okay at the moment as they put it left to Dawson Storm. His way out just beyond the Rabbitohs 20. So 46 minutes gone. Only 6 minutes into the second half. It's the Panthers looking for their first win of the season. 3 tries to 1 in the first half. You're watching the Simulation Rugby League Premiership on the SRL TV channel. Rugby League's fastest growing eSports competition. You can be the player now just by clicking the link in the description of this video. Join our Discord. It's the Rabbitohs on the final tackle. Punching it down towards that left wing towards Brody Kennedy as Isaac Edwards. It's going to be Ryan versus Kennedy, who has got the foot pace at the moment. Ryan
Kennedy's
looks to have him
fast.
covered, and he does well to drag him down, but it's Kennedy who's taken the Panthers up to the 10. They're getting to play the ball as well. Hunt on the charge. A good run from Simon Hunt, only a couple of metres out. Lee, short ball, and it's been intercepted by Dranigan.
Great play, Dranigan. They were in.
In for all money.
2 on the keep going.
Dranigan coming up, just sticking the mid out. And it's stuck.
Yeah, look, I was actually on the podcast. I asked the SRL community to submit hot takes. One of the hot takes I got, Drake Dranigan to be a top 3 second rower in the SRL by the end of the season. I pushed back on it. I said he definitely won't be top 3. We've got too many good ones, but I'll tell you what, with plays like that, he's definitely building towards becoming a really successful forward in this competition. You mentioned signing up, Kamish. There's no better time than now to sign up for the SRL, of course, with the launch of the SRL Minds. It's never been better to get involved in the competition.
Clearing now. 1, release.
He's definitely up there contending for Rookie of the Year.
That's 1.
As the Panthers have given away possession on the halfway line.
They're offside. Oh,
Now it's the
wow.
Rabbitohs have given away possession.
They just had too many options just down south. With about 3 or 4 Penrith players offside, and in the end they just didn't take any of them and just dropped the ball. I think they were just overthinking that play a little bit too much.
A good pressure showing here from the Panthers, just playing simple rugby league. Nothing too flashy about it. Panthers just trying to keep things simple and maintain this lead that they hold. Seems to be a couple of touches in the set. Set it up centre field on the final tackle, about 30 metres out to Lee, who kicks once again. Not a bad kick by Lee, but not really putting any pressure on those Rabbitohs outside backs.
No, I think maybe James Thorne needs to take more control of the side with his kicking, you know. I think Mark Lee might just be having a bit of an off night. I think James Thorne needs to, I suppose, recognise that. But, you know, I think Mark can definitely get his stride back. He just needs that one good kick to mentally, you know, get back up for this game. Because their kicking game is what has let Souths back in this game and what is continuing to let them down as Edwards takes a shot at a 40-20. Is that out on, out on the full? That's a big moment.
Looking for the second 40-20 of the game. That wind in the second half is behind the Rabbitohs. It's just carried the ball over the sideline.
We saw how good of a kicker Isaac Edwards is. He absolutely tore New South Wales to shreds in the Origin series just off the back of his own boot. His kicking game was phenomenal, but he got that one wrong. It might be costly for him. The Panthers are coming to get them.
charge from Lachlan Sinclair. He's playing well so far tonight. Putting the top performing forward ran for over 100 metres. 54 minutes gone as Lee takes it to the line. It's better for Mark Lee.
Hands off.
Ball in hand as Sinclair once again looking to stretch out.
Need a result here.
He can't do it. They go to Lee. Puts it on the toe.
Much better.
Mark Lee. Bradford running through, collects it. But the defence holds well for South Sydney. And they will get the ball.
Yeah, he's had a mixed bag with his kicking tonight, Mark Lee. Of course, he did a grubber kick in the first half. They only went about 2 metres, but that was a much better kick, a lot more dangerous from him, and they almost get a try. Now they've got to back this up defensively, Penrith. Forwards have got to stand up.
Right, that's the third. He's held there.
We talked during the week about James Thorne and you know how he has been struggling for form at Penrith this season, and being a gold-rated player, whether you keep a gold-rated player who maybe isn't performing to the level that you know they can perform or they have performed in the past, as Edwards from just outside the 40 puts the kick in. But I think since Thorne switched to play the number 9 back in round 3, and he's since come back into the halves for Penrith.
He's held there. 2.
Seems to be controlling the game a lot better than the first half of the season. And I just think he needs to take control of this game. Lee seems to be kicking a lot more.
He's held there.
And I think Thorne is the player who is playing with more confidence at the moment.
Yeah, for sure. And that's a bit interesting because obviously last week it was the other way around. Mark Lee took control of the game because he was playing with more confidence than Thorne. But I think Thorne's taken a lot of confidence out of Penrith's good result last week, in the sense, well, it wasn't a good result, they lost, but it was a good performance from them overall. So I think he's definitely playing with a bit of confidence. He's running the footy a fair bit. So I think he probably should take a bit of pressure off Mark now. You know, once they get that combination right and they know when, okay, I've got to take the ball here, or no, it's up to him, this is his part. No, I want him to take the ball here. Once they figure out when to put their hand up, they're going to be a lethal combination for me. The other thing too, being a half is really tough if other members of your team are performing. You know, your forwards have got to give you time by generating ruck speed, so you've got that extra minute, that extra few seconds to think about your kick and place it where you want it. Whereas if you're under pressure and if that defensive line is steaming at you, it makes it a lot harder. And at times Penrith's forwards haven't been great this season. So, you know, it's a mixed bag. Of course, Thorne can be playing better, but I think his forwards and outside backs too, coming in for some good carries, could also take a bit of pressure off of James. And also Mark at the moment. Oh, and that's a poor pass.
See it coming. Nathan Fisher just slightly overrunning his timing. Slightly wrong there and overrunning the pass, coming back on the inside.
Yeah, well spotted finish.
From about 40 metres out from the Panthers line. This is a good opportunity for the Rabbitohs. Just under 20 minutes remaining as the 60-minute mark ticks over on the scoreboard. It's still Penrith with a 12-point lead as Olay gets put in to the backfield. A good hole ran. They stay short side. Cut out pass from Guys to Collins. The skipper looking to push his way over. Good defence from Penrith. Numbers short side. They go short side to Guys. Had Crutcher on the outside but couldn't get the hands free. Final tackle now. Cutler plays it to Crutcher. He's going to put it high. Not really threatening the in goal. As Ryan gets a tap back. But he will be taken down by Simon Hunt, and the Panthers survive with 18 minutes remaining.
We know how lethal that tap back is in the SRL. Of course, it sucks in other defenders, and it gives the fullback are usually the people behind it. It gives them space to put on some footwork and score. They did really well there, Penrith, to not let Liam Ryan crash over. As they give away the ball, though.
Turnover from the Panthers, so a couple of errors starting to creep into their game as we into the final quarter. Laumu, a trademark run through the middle from Jason Laumu, and we're going to go upstairs.
I think they rolled him on his back. They pulled a try. No, I think that they've got him on his back. Great defence from Penrith after the initial break from Jason. That was a great run from him, but Penrith with some desperation. They want this win.
Tackle 2, they restart through Edwards, cut out pass, flat one, Tuss. Wrestles, throws himself towards the line, 2 metres out. They go to Logan Guys on the charge. What a run from the Rabbitohs second rower. Hard to stop from that close to the line. It was Bradford who had his arms wrapped around him. We're going to go upstairs actually, with a Bradford managed to get the hand underneath. As the decision comes in, and it's a try.
Yeah, it's been I don't know how to describe this first half. I wouldn't call it dour, but it's been just really stop-start. We haven't seen too much entertaining footy or too much footy with momentum strung behind it because of all the errors, but South Sydney finally get a bit of consistency, finally are able to, get a bit of fluidity, and they score a try. Now, all of a sudden, the context of this game has completely changed. They're only 6 points behind, as long as, Ash Crutcher, almost made me eat my words there. It's almost another commentary curse from myself, but he converts. So how do Penrith respond? That's the next question. What message does Lachlan Martin give them behind the sticks?
I'll tell you what, Lachlan Martin will be puckering up right now with his team's margin going from 18-0 back to only 6 points now. The Panthers out in front. As Lee gets the restart underway, a shallow kick. Not really getting it deep enough down into the Rabbitohs line. And we've mentioned that the wind is behind the Rabbitohs in the second half. And so
hands away. He's held there. Clear in.
Territory down towards that South Sydney line. That's the try scorer. Hands on the ball.
3. Hands
Players
away.
have stood out for me so far tonight. For the Panthers, I think Lachlan Sinclair has had a really good game up front. Must be close to over 150 metres.
Nice ball.
But
they give it away. No, another set.
A miracle ball on the inside. I think it was Ryan who found Crutcher, and it just managed to hold. And in fact, they've got a tackle recount. The Panthers must have touched it. So first tackle, and they're on the Panthers 10. They go to Guys. He slices through the middle, and he grabs a double.
Wow, 2 tries in 2 minutes for Logan Guys. What a set by South. They made that break, of course. I think there was a touch by the Penrith fullback trying to get that intercept. How often do we see those intercepts taken? Ash Crutcher made a strong run, and South Sydney just settle. Probably soft defence from Penrith, I'd say yes. And then Souths are in. All of a sudden, we're 18-all, and the comeback is completed again. Just like in the game before this. This has been a really, really just bizarre 2 games in the SRL. Shows how close this competition is and how you can never take anything for granted.
Sean Bradford, who was the tackle on Logan Guys in that instance. Obviously, it was Bradford who was dragged over the line by Guys for his first try. Just got done by the speed that Guys ran onto that ball. Former Warriors second rower back in season 1. Has had injury disrupted career, you'd probably say, at the Rabbitohs.
He's held there. Move. That's one. Move.
His 3rd try of his career.
2.
Second of the season.
Let him
Back
go.
live here with around about 12 minutes remaining here at ANZ Stadium.
He's held there. 3. Back with me.
Had a couple of golden point games over the last couple of weeks, Jack.
4. Get back.
Could be
Look
on
at
our
me.
way to another one. But I mean, still plenty of time for a field goal.
Yeah, there's still plenty of time for anything to happen. We could see a field goal kicked, or we could see, some scintillating footy like we saw in that Brisbane Parramatta game. I think that, that's not a great kick from South Sydney, but that's what it's going to come down to, game management, which halves and which spine in general can take control of this game and manage their team to a victory.
So 11 minutes remaining as Hunt drives through the middle. Would you go for the field goal right now, Jack? 11 minutes remaining.
Let him go.
Oh, yeah, I'd say I probably would. I think that, you know, Penrith especially haven't been able to find many points, so I don't see why they don't try and retake the lead, unless, of course, they can score a try. But, yeah, I think they're a bit close now, so they might look for a repeat set instead. Usually around that 70th minute is when teams really like to start taking the snap. We'll see what happens. Oh, but that's a forward pass. I guess we'll never know.
Play the ball. And frustrating time for the Panthers, who are just choking up a little bit here at the moment after getting out to that 18 points to nil lead. As Laumu makes another one of his trademark breaks up through the middle. Rabbitohs looking for that last gasp. Points as Ryan gets a good inside ball. Cuts back on the inside of Murphy. Up inside the Panthers 40 they go as Guys juggles for a moment, does well to regather. He's had a good second half. Logan Guys, Crutcher from 40 metres out. No one was expecting that one, and South Sydney take the lead here at home.
What a kick from Crutcher. Logan Guys, that's a sliding doors moment that he was able to take that kick, and then Crutcher, he was 30 metres out right on the Telstra sponsorship, and he nails a field goal. It could have gone another 50. It went 20-odd metres behind the play after that. He could have kicked that from halfway. That is some awesome field goal kicking from the Rabbitohs. How did Penrith respond now? All of a sudden, all the pressure is on them. I spoke about the fact there was no pressure whatsoever on them, and they played like that for the first 20 minutes. And then I guess scoreboard pressure, or the pressure of being ahead, is the pressure that ended up being on them, and now they're feeling it.
That's his second. Experience in the halves for South Sydney is starting to come through now. It's Isaac Edwards. He's had a pretty good second half. He's had his hands on the ball a lot more in the second 40. Ash Crutcher is slotting that field goal from 40 metres out. And he's going to kick early here for the 40-20. Doesn't get good contact at all as Fisher comes away with it. Could have been partially charged.
He's held there.
In fact, it was partially charged by Hayden Mielhard.
Oh, good ball. Oh, nice footy.
Sean running once again. Finding gaps and holes. Not easily tonight. Mielhard takes it forward. Forced backwards and shunted. Back to the ground, flat to Martin. He's in a quiet second half. The skipper really needs to step up in this last 5 or so minutes of the game. Cut out pass to Saddle Cart, almost getting away. It was Laumu who just clung on to the coattails. And final tackle now. Delaney decides to run. Last minute decides to put it on the toe. Not a great decision by Delaney. Probably should have put it up high and trusted his chasers to put pressure on Ryan. And the Rabbitohs
That's one.
might have stolen it here at ANZ.
Oh, there goes Liam Ryan, but Kamish, that play wasn't great by Penrith. It was the play before. They're down by 1. And on the 4th tackle, they shifted out to the edge where you can't kick a field goal. They're down by 1. They should have just taken... Lachlan Martin took a good run up the guts. They should have given it to Jordan Williams or a player like that. Got him to take it up for the next run and then took a shot at field goal. But a silly cut-out pass. They went for the try, and now they're down by 1, and South's on the attack.
Now we wrapped them up beneath the commentary box. Right, Jack. He's held on for the 1. Meanwhile, it's the Rabbitohs now who have got an opportunity to seal it. They get a good pick away. They decide to go shallow. Hoping for a good chase from Tuss. Fisher gets up high, but it's the Panthers with 3 minutes remaining who have to travel 90 metres. As Martin runs and given away, Mendonca's come away with it, and the Rabbitohs will surely have the last chance here. Guys, he's already got 2 tonight. Can he get a hat-trick inside the 10? Right they come, the crutcher.
Oh.
Cut out past to Jake Tuss. Hard to stop.
Oh,
and
yeah,
the
he's in.
Panthers player just fall off him. And Tuss has got it down. We're going to go upstairs. But he looks to have got it down for all money.
Yeah, disappointing.
And the big
For
second
Penrith.
rower.
Great drive back from South Sydney. That's 25 unanswered points.
25 unanswered points. And the Panthers, their season will be over. And how frustrating is that, Jack? After being 18 points to 0 up.
You just got to feel for Penrith. They've shown that they have got a lot of ticker at that side and that they have got potential. They absolutely stuck it to South Sydney for that first 20, but then they just fell away slowly. Maybe it's a fatigue thing, you know, they had a long game last week, but it's just not good enough, unfortunately. Lachie Martin, he's going to be so disappointed. Obviously, he threw away that pass in the last play there, but he's tried hard tonight, of course. But comeback complete for Souths. I think they are lucky because they definitely started this game poor, but Penrith fell away, which I think played into their hands a little bit, but they've got a lot of work to do now too. They secure their top 4 spot for another week, but boy oh boy has it been ugly.
Less than a minute remaining here at ANZ Stadium. It's the Rabbitohs who take on the Raiders.
Get back, look at me.
Next week.
Up against my old club.
Meanwhile, the Panthers,
Lift them up. Held.
they will be hoping to score some more points as the siren sounds here at ANZ Stadium. The Rabbitohs comeback complete. They snatch victory in the final quarter of the game, Jack. 25 points to 18. 4 tries to 3. It was those 2 tries in the last quarter to Logan Guys that did it. And you got a feel
What a
for
game.
Penrith Panthers and their
Oh, man,
supporters. They get the outright record for the most losses, most consecutive losses, which is not what we're going to talk about, but that's just frustrating. It must be so frustrating
Yeah.
to just blow an 18-point lead, eh?
Oh, mate. So I feel so bad for, you know, the Penrith leadership group. They work so hard each and every game, and they look up at times during these games, but they just haven't been able to string 80 minutes together. It's so heartbreaking for Lachie Martin. They've got 2 rounds left of the competition now, round 6 and round 7, to try and salvage some pride, but they've got to look to next season now. The commercial will mention next week, you know, of course, we've watched South Sydney make a big comeback against Penrith. Brisbane make a good comeback against Parramatta. Well, Penrith and Parramatta are playing next week, so one of those teams will get a win, which will be good for both sides, obviously. So Penrith, they definitely can still win some games this season and put on some entertaining footy, but you know, they're just going to miss chances like this week and last week. It's just disappointing. It's just really disappointing for them.
So it's the Rabbitohs who grab the win and go back into the top 4. And it's the Panthers who slump to their 5th defeat of the season. That will wrap up our action for Tuesday night here in the SRL. Don't forget that tomorrow night we have 2 more absolute blockbusters. It's the Cowboys at home taking on the Warriors, followed by the Raiders taking on the defending premiers and competition leaders. Jack, it's been a privilege having you in the commentary box once again, and we will see you next week.
Too easy. Thanks for having me, Kamish. Thanks everyone for being a part of tonight. See you tomorrow. Up the milk.